Grandma is going to be upstairs, and the party can only be in the living room and the swimming pool. Just where someone would spike the punch. Young lady, that's not JR's idea of a party. And you know it, Elizabeth said. He used to party like that with you and your brother. But ever since he went away to college, things have changed. 8 p.m. Carl Hendrick, JR's uncle, walks into JR's room, where he is reading a book. Oh, his White House appointment, what a mess. Your dad stepped away again? Carl asked. I'm not surprised, Jared said. His White House appointment, what a mess. But what an opportunity. I get an internship out of the deal. I understand, Carl said, tapping JR on the shoulder. But look, I want more opportunities for you. Your dad's not going to get the wildcat out of him. But JR, you have a chance. You always thought highly of me, Uncle Carl. But that's because your granddad raised you, while your dad chases oil, fame, and power. 8:20 p.m. in Houston, Jim, Claude, and the Sanders enjoyed a great dinner together. Now they are sitting down for a movie. Around that same time, JR goes to his evening Bible study for a few minutes with Brad and them. By 8:55, Elizabeth is in the living room, and Leroy, one of the ranch workers, started a fire in the fireplace. JR comes downstairs, after returning home quickly to put away his Bible and books. JR, can you pour your grandma a wine cooler? Elizabeth asked. Of course, Grandma, JR said. He opens up the drinks cabinet and pours her a wine cooler. It's as maybe it should be, Elizabeth said. Your mama tooling around with your daddy. Messing around, and yet you're always at Grandma's side. Of course, Grandma, JR said. I'm looking forward to my summer internship, but I enjoy my time with you. Elizabeth puts the poker in the fireplace to further the fire. I'm an old fuddy-duddy to these kids nowadays. You'd be wise to take that internship, JR. Just don't turn out too much like your daddy. December 10th. JR wakes up in his bedroom at the ranch. Downstairs, his grandmother is listening to in the kitchen, is instructing the kitchen staff to make boiled eggs, biscuits, bacon, and blueberry muffins. This morning, Grandma Swain devotes much of her attention making the muffins for breakfast. 7:45 a.m. JR is having breakfast with his grandmother. You know, JR, I know why you went off to school, Elizabeth said. After your granddad's death, your daddy got thirsty for power, so he took your mama gallivanting everywhere he could. And your mama enabled Kyle to get away with murder. That's why you left, and I don't blame you. Thanks for thinking of me that way, Grandma. I'm really looking forward to this internship, Jared said. Just don't be surprised if he uses this opportunity for a power grab. Jim had begun expressing interest in Betsy in 1967. For 2 years, Jeremy Swain said that there was no way Jim would ever marry his daughter. But when he promised to raise their children near the ranch, Jeremy went ahead and gave for them the blessing to be married at the ranch. When Jim refused to raise JR at the ranch totally, but to wander around Odessa and other parts of the country, Jeremy was angry. Granddad Swain knew the Hendrick marriage of the 1970s was unstable. I'm worried about and wanted JR at his side to give him a proper raising. Finally, in the fall of 1978, Betsy told Jim that if he didn't return her and her kids to the ranch, she would leave him and take the kids. So in Halloween 1978, Jim and his family moved on to the ranch. With the family back at the ranch, Betsy wanted to put JR in some of the private schools in Midland. However, her father had better ideas. So she had him kept in public schools until the fall of 1983, where he attended a nearby Christian school for a year before going to the prep schools in Odessa. However, Jim agreed that the younger children would go to the more elite prep schools in Midland. JR's education in his formative years would constantly be at times a wedge in his parents' marriage. 8:30 a.m. JR takes Bandit on his morning ride. One of the ranch hands is playing Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer on the tractor radio. JR talks softly and sweetly to Bandit. The floods of the early days memories of the ranch came to JR's mind. At age 9, when his father scolded him because he couldn't ride a bicycle without training wheels, JR would rush over to Bandit for comfort. At age 15, when Kyle suspended JR's Red Scouts club Bandit became an outlet to ride to help JR's frustrations. 9 a.m. Jim is speaking at the to the MBA faculty at the Texas Southern University School of Business about the need for more economic benefits for small business. 9:10 a.m. JR just put Bandit in the stall when he saw a sleek black car pull up in front of the driveway. A man with black hair and briefcase walks over to JR. "You the man of the house?" The man asked. "I'm J.R. Hendrick. I'm looking for Jim Hendrick. My father is in Houston until next week." "That's a pity, because I wanted to talk to him about the trust fund for his firstborn." "Well, I am his firstborn," J.R. said. "Oh, I never suspected you. You're so gentlemanly, unlike your father." "He can be gentlemanly if you look past the hard exterior," J.R. said. "Do you have his number?" J.R. whips out his cell phone and gives the man his father's number. "I'll call him this afternoon. We have some things to square away before your birthday." 9:20 a.m. J.R. walks inside the house and pours himself some ginger ale. "JR, I saw you talking outside to that man," Elizabeth said. "What the hell's going on?" "Some man asking for Daddy. You know, that's one thing about your father I can't stand. Since he did this power grab, he leaves you to clean up his mess." "Grandma, I don't call a trust fund a mess." "Well, of course not. But you know well, your father is off doing highfalutin things while you're stuck here. I never thought it was fair. Look, Grandma, I get to party as much as Daddy does. I just don't like my father's party style." 12:05 p.m. While JR's grandmother is reading the National Enquirer, JR is listening to Rush Limbaugh, the Rush Limbaugh Show. Rush makes this following pronouncement that interests JR. "All because of Whitewater. Clinton is catering to the conservatives." "But this phony baloney, plastic banana, good time rock and roll, and style, it's not going to work with us," Rush said. "Oh, sure. He may have released some Whitewater documents, but under the law, you've got to believe that Janet Reno is going to cover it up as long as she can." He knows his father does not approve of him listening to Rush Limbaugh, but he really doesn't care. Because, quite frankly, his father is off on his political business junket in Houston again. He knows his